The internet is filled with oohs and ahs, himmers and hars, people saying that with this, Sony has killed Canon, the same old voices who sold you the same camera last year selling it to you again. Each company leapfrogging each other with every new product release, scrambling to fill the hole that was left by the last, while the third-party manufacturers scramble to fill those cracks even further. It's this crazy cycle that repeats over and over again, and I think that there's a systemic failure to see what's actually going on here in the industry as a whole. I'm a filmmaker and video producer here in San Francisco. I tell stories for brands and organizations professionally, and I also make films and capture images as a passion. Historically, I've been a Canon shooter and a Red shooter, and more recently having fun with Fuji. I think that there's been times where I've wondered if I'd be better off in the Sony ecosystem. I want to share my thoughts about this new FX5 launch as it's kind of swept the internet, because there's some things that are interesting about it, and there's a lot that's actually really disappointing. At a first look, in a lot of ways, the FX5 is kind of really a dud. It's got the exact same form factor, body, and really like core offerings of the FX3, but yet it's not an FX3 Mark II. Sony's trying to preserve the lifetime of the FX3, and it makes sense because there's no real reason why the FX3 needs to die. So we're gonna work through it step by step. I'm gonna kind of give my take on these different elements. To me, from my perspective, someone who does professional video production, a lot of the headline elements of it are table stakes at this point. People are elated about the inclusion of false color. It's almost as if people are thankful that they've been given something back that everybody else has had. If you're a Canon user, this is nothing new. That's been out for years. Lumix has been supporting this for even longer. 32-bit float audio is a welcome inclusion. They included that with the top handle, but it's something that Nikon brought into ZR not that long ago. Now Sony's also included a bigger screen with this camera. And it's kind of funny to me because it's not as big as the screen that we see on the Nikon ZR or on the Confinity Mavo. It almost feels like when the Nikon ZR came out, Sony scrambled and had to figure out a way to meet this new requirement that Nikon made. Now, something that's not really an innovation, but I'm actually really happy to see, is DGO mode, which is dual gain output. It's what my C70, what I'm filming on right now, has. That gives it incredible dynamic range. It's what the RE Alexa cameras use. You have the option to go into a mode for higher dynamic range that sacrifices things like rolling shutter. This is perfectly fine if you're doing something like an interview where you're not doing whip pans or filming action. The rolling shutter really isn't a problem for anything that happens at like a normal life pace. I personally love DGO sensors. I am a huge dynamic range nut. To me, dynamic range is basically 80% of what I care about when it comes to a camera. There is one thing though that I think that they've done that is really, really cool and exciting. This is the inclusion of their new raw video codecs, which are raw video, so you can change your ISO and have much more control after the fact. Shooting in RAW is incredibly data intensive. It takes a ton to store those files. It's often really hard to work with those files in the edit. And it's just a huge pain. The lowest version of it is 320 megabytes per second, which is really, really good. So if you're able to get that bit rate for your storage, but it's also a raw codec, that's incredible. That is some seriously kind of, paradigm shifting updates to the way that we do post-production and data management. And that's what I want to see more of when it comes to camera manufacturers innovating. Nikon did a great job with the big screen and giving us Red RAW inside of the Nikon ZR. Thing is, Red RAW is a bananas-ly large codec, and the Nikon ZR has pretty garbage dynamic range, so you can't really make the most out of that codec anyways. So now that we have a camera with incredible dynamic range and a really excellent raw codec, that's kind of the perfect sweet spot for both things. Panasonic did an incredible job when they came out with the dynamic range boost mode. We see how each camera manufacturer is just building on the previous and adding their own little bits at a time. It's like this incremental growth from each different brand's output every year or 5 years or whatever it is that is finally getting us somewhere interesting. I don't think that we can credit any specific camera manufacturer or brand with killing another one or basically ending the whole thing. It's like they are essentially all working together in their own little Cold War to improve the products that consumers have access to. There's things that I think could have actually been really innovative we could have seen with this launch, like an internal electronic ND would have been amazing. Obviously, like maybe it would have to be a larger camera. That will be a thing that we have eventually, and eventually it will be small. I think we should be asking for a little bit more out of these cameras than just kind of a reskin on the one that came 5 years ago. Cameras sit at a really interesting crossroads between physics and sales and science, where there's certain things you just can't do. The question is, have we stalled because there's nothing left to innovate on? That just can't be true. There has to be more here for us to do beyond just adding bigger screens on shit. If you look at the Canon R6V, that camera is very well priced at 2,500 bucks, where basically anything shy of like real professional work, you can buy that camera and be completely happy. Cameras were good then. They will continue to be good. They won't change the way that you make art or you do work. I could see how this would be a good product for video teams who are doing really high volume stuff. But for most creators, anything that's come out in the last 3-5 years is good enough, is more than good enough to make the vision that you want in your film a reality. Certainly nothing will make you better at making films than making films. Not the camera, not the equipment, not the lighting, whatever it is. Just pick up the camera that you already have, the camera that you can afford, whatever that may be, and make something cool. I'm just one guy with opinions. I'd really like to know what you think, so leave that down in the comments. Anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.